OldHaven is the most underrated beta server in all of Minecraft. The server itself isn't that popular anymore, even with its rich history of abandoned bases, entire wars between factions, and of course, strange and unique players. But for all those strange players, none have pushed boundaries further than Janno228. So, who is Janno? And what does he have to do with OldHaven? Janno's story stretches back very far in the server's history. It's unknown exactly when he started playing, but we know it was before the Betaland server split and created OldHaven. Either way, after the split happened in late 2019, Janno chose to play on OldHaven over the new Betalands. The first thing he did was help create the Communist Republic, one of the biggest factions on the server, and the faction with the biggest base. This faction would go on to be one of the most controversial the server had ever seen. Perhaps because of the success of the Communist Republic, Janno found himself at financial odds with a player named Knight Crafty. Now, Crafty was part of another huge faction on the server, Golden Gulf, and Golden Gulf has a pretty rich player base. Literally. Janno wanted to be the richest player on the server, and he felt threatened that Crafty's balance was so close to his. The two of them went at it. They tried as much as they could to grind the shops and get some kind of advantage over each other, but the gap between them remained pretty small. Then, something strange happened. One of the admins, Dejif, began sending weird messages over Discord. In these messages, Dejif was actually telling Crafty to surrender. This was suspicious. Why was an admin of this small Minecraft server choosing sides? Crafty got even more suspicious when Dejif demanded that he pay Janno the amount that would get him the richest Baltop in the server. That was just too much. With little pushing, the truth came out. Janno had changed his Discord name to Dejif's name and was impersonating Dejif to get Crafty to surrender. Janno actually faked being an admin just to get virtual money. The dude is insane. The Baltop battle, as it came to be called, continued even after Janno was outed, and Crafty ended up coming out on top, beating Janno at his own game. Crafty had realized Janno's shop on the server valued gravel and sugarcane at $1 each, but the spawn shop valued them at $15 each. So, Crafty bought gravel and sugarcane from Janno, seemingly letting the battle be lost, and then sold all of it back at spawn for 15 times what he had originally paid. This ended up putting Crafty at the absolute top of the richest players list, and Janno was forced to surrender. He simply couldn't keep up with how much Crafty had just earned. After the Baltop battle, Janno cooled down for a little bit. He kept playing on the server and growing his faction, often asking new players if they wanted to join. It's in this time frame that he actually gets water into the Nether. How he did this is still unknown, but the water can still be found inside Spookyville, the server's last standing Nether base. Janno would go on to make a lot of friends during this time as well, and for the most part, people loved him. He was funny and non-confrontational. It seemed like things had peaked with the Baltop incident and wouldn't get much crazier. Were we wrong? In the spring of 2020, one of the Communist Republic's longest-standing members, Strange Alien Zero, left to join the Aetherian Empire. Such a devoted member up and leaving enraged Janno, and in retaliation, he burned all of Strange's items that hadn't been moved out of his old base yet. Because Strange was a friend of many factions, not only did the Aetherian Empire back him up, but so did Golden Gulf. These two factions actually did battle with Janno, and ended up winning. It was a short skirmish, but a successful one. During this, Janno becomes so unhinged that he actually gets muted for a week because he told his old rival, Crafty, to put himself out of his misery. A week-long muting, of course, didn't stop the madness that is Janno228. About 2 months after the muting, the leader of the Aetherian Empire, Lucas Stuff, quit the server, leaving his faction in a bit of disarray. Around the same time, a few players who used to be really active on the server came back and joined up with the Communist Republic. It was too good a setup, and all the stars were perfectly aligned now. Janno saw his shot, and did he ever take it? Janno ends up attacking Golden Gulf, which at this point practically only consisted of Crafty and his friends Dubs. Crafty and Dubs stood their ground and fended the communists off in the first battle of what would come to be known as the Towny War. This was unprecedented. OldHaven, being such a small server, had never seen a war between two factions become so hostile and so unbalanced. It was a 3v2. Espionage got involved in the mix when Crafty and Dubs snuck into the Communist Republic, Frodo and Sam style, to spy on the enemy. They ended up being spotted and fled all the way back to Golden Gulf, where they suited up for the final battles of the war. In every battle, the two of them defeated the Communists and drove them into retreat, effectively winning the Towny War. Janno had lost. So where did that leave Janno228? Well, he's actually still a very active player on OldHaven. You can probably catch him almost anytime you hop on, and so far he hasn't caused much else trouble. Who knows? Maybe the next war is right around the corner, and maybe Janno will have a part to play in it yet.